Sherlock Holmes said, once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth. Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm going to talk about 4 of the crises facing evolution today. The first crisis is the second law of thermodynamics. It states that all things are tending toward perfect entropy, that is, total chaos. Everything is going from organized to disorganized, from complex to simple. A battery goes from charge to discharge. It does not recharge itself. Evolution would have us believe that things are moving from disorganized to organized, given enough time and chance. You've heard the thing say that if we give enough time, everything will happen. Impossible. Second law of thermodynamics says it can't happen. Things are moving from complex to simple. The second problem we want to deal with is the problem of fossil gaps. As we dig through the geologic column, Darwin believed that starting with his primordial ooze, these simple cells that develop in primordial ooze, as they become more complex, would be captured in the geologic column, and they should become more complex as you go higher in it, but there should also be many steps in between. What we find actually is life occurring spontaneously without any steps in between, no dead ends that do not evolve, because there are no missing links. They don't exist. He believed that if these links are not found, his theory falls on rough times, because he believed they gradually change between each species, but we don't see these intermediate steps. They just spontaneously, or they occur all at once. Okay, the third problem we want to deal with is the fact there is no known mechanism. If all these changes are happening continuously in the past, there ought to be something that causes it to happen. We cannot find what causes it to happen. If I were to take, and I've wanted to use this example many times when I've talked about this to the high school kids, is to take a blender, and you take a frog and you drop that frog and then you run it just a little bit. All the information for making a frog is right there in that blender, but nobody in their right mind would believe that a frog would ever come out of that. There is no known mechanism to take parts of information and make new things. Mutations is what we're told creates new species. But mutations are damaging the information, not increasing it, not creating new ways for things to happen. Dogs do not change into cats because the information for a cat is not in the dog. Neither do monkeys change into men, no matter when you look at it, because the information for a man is not contained in the monkey's gene pool. There's not enough mutations that would change a monkey's offspring into a man. One of the stories I've heard, you probably heard the one too, where the beautiful princess was walking down the road and she heard this voice and looked around and there was nobody there, and then she noticed this frog was talking to her. And this frog says, you know, if you kiss me, I'll turn into a handsome prince, and we'll get married, and then we'll have a mess of kids and move into my castle and we'll live happily ever after. And she did, and he did, and they did, and they did. And we're told that's a myth. But if you give it 4.5 billion years, we're told it's science. Time and chance does not make science any more than the woman kissing a frog would turn it into a beautiful or a handsome prince. It doesn't happen. That's not science. The fourth problem that the evolutionist has is the mounting indication that the world is not 4.5 billion years old. But we'll get into that next time.